All right, so let's move on. Well, I want to give you 6 quick and easy ways to change your mind so that when you experience speaking anxiety, it doesn't control you, you don't feel like it's overwhelming you, you can knock it down to size. Now again, because these symptoms are the result of your fight or flight response, you probably will never eliminate them entirely, nor should you want to. Fight or flight response is incredibly valuable. It may save your life someday. But what you want to do is knock it down to a level where it's controllable. In fact, you may even find that in speaking, as with a lot of things, sometimes a little anxiety isn't a bad thing. Anxiety is a motivator, right? Oh my God, I got that presentation in 3 days. I haven't designed the slides yet. Anxiety drives you to action. Being nervous about something is a signal to yourself that it has value to you, that it's important to you, that you want to do it well. So it's not necessarily that you want to remove that anxiety altogether, because that may also make the event itself unimportant, right? You want a little bit of a push to get ready for it and consider it important and do it well. But you want to knock it down to a level where you don't feel like it's controlling you, where you feel like it's working for you. So here are 6 quick and simple tips, and then we'll open up the floor to questions and suggestions and challenges and anything else you got. Number 1, remember who it's about. And here's your big hint. It's not about you. When you're the speaker, when you're giving a presentation, who is your presentation about? The audience. See, you all knew this already. And the audience is not coming for you. The audience is not coming to bask in the glow of your wonderfulness. And so you won't disappoint them if you're not 100% wonderful. The audience is not coming for you as a person. They are coming for the information you have that they think is valuable to them. Right? That's why you're all here. I love to think you're here to bask in my wonderfulness. But chances are you read the description and said, okay, that's interesting. I think I can get something out of that. Why don't I go? Right? That's what you're here for. And it helps as a speaker if you remember that they're not there to look at you or judge you as a person. They're there for the thing that you're carrying for them that they think will be valuable to them in their lives. So it's not about you. Next, scramble your fear. This is a scrambling technique. Has anybody ever tried this, by the way? What I want you to do, basically, the idea here is a lot of people, when they think about speaking, will immediately imagine the worst possible outcome, right? Oh God, I'm going to do a horrible job. Everybody's going to close their eyes and fall asleep. They're all going to be sneering at me. My pants will fall down. The building will catch on fire and everything will be horrible. And if you imagine something like that enough times, it begins to become a prediction in your mind. It begins to become a certainty. Of course that's what's going to happen, right? That's what I imagine. So here's one thing you can do with it. Scramble that fear. When you find yourself imagining a scenario like that, take that picture and just dilute it of all of its negative energy and influence over you so that it's something you can laugh at. So try to imagine a situation, maybe one coming up or maybe one that you've had recently, that seemed a public speaking presentation situation of any kind that seems scary to you. And get that picture back in your head of what that looks like. And then start scrambling it. Maybe you could, I don't know, maybe you could make snow start falling in the room. Maybe you could make pink and purple bunnies start flying around because they all have wings for some reason. They're all flying around the room. Maybe you can put Richard Simmons in the corner telling everybody to do squat thrusts. Anything you want. It's your mind. It's your imagination. You can do anything you want. But the idea here is that if you can add a lot of that imagery, right? If you can put everybody in a funny nose and glasses so that they don't seem intimidating to you, if you can rearrange that image and scramble it, you can neuter it down to something that doesn't seem scary. It actually makes you laugh when you're done. And then it becomes something you can just, flick away, right? And it's gone, and it's robbed of all of its power to intimidate you. All right, let's try the next one. Create an anchor. This is sort of a cool one, too. The idea here is that you create a gesture, and you tie that gesture in with a relaxed, warm, peaceful feeling that you have, and then you invoke that gesture at the moment when you're about to speak in order to relax yourself. So let me walk you through it. Picture a great place. Maybe it's your favorite place in the world. Someplace where you feel calm and peaceful and relaxed. Maybe it's a beach, maybe a golf course, maybe I don't know, on the Cape at the ocean. Maybe it's your bed. Maybe it's a hammock in the backyard, whatever it is. Maybe it's on the couch in front of the TV. So the idea is that you, for a couple of minutes a day leading up to the presentation, you take the time to imagine this place, and then you create some sort of very small signal to yourself, a physical motion. So for example, tapping your thumb and your middle finger together like this. Something no one else would see and that has no other meaning to you. But you're tying it in with that imagery and that sense of calm and peacefulness. And then, I'm sure you can guess, when you get into that speaking situation and you feel your blood pressure start to rise and you get nervous, you do that motion, and if you've really ingrained it in yourself, if you really created that anchor, just doing that can bring back those peaceful thoughts, the calmness. It can release a lot of that anxiety. Visualize success. This goes back to what we were doing a moment ago, visualizing failure. And again, it's very common for folks when they think about speaking situations to imagine the worst possible scenario, and they imagine it so often that it starts to become a certainty. This is what will happen. Well, you can start to break that pattern, and when it happens, or in other times, maybe you set this up for yourself, you start to visualize success instead of failure. So you imagine yourself in that moment, giving that presentation, right? But instead of imagining everything going wrong, you imagine everything going right. You imagine the words coming out of you and knowing that they are in just the right flow, just the right combination. This is the perfect way to say it. You look into the eyes of your audience and your imagination, and you see that everybody's making eye contact, and they think it's cool, and they get it, and they'll use it, and it's resonating with everyone. You imagine afterwards, when you're done, a nice big round of applause. Hey, make them give you a standing ovation. Why not? It's your imagination. Maybe you imagine them coming up to you afterwards and saying, that was fantastic. I loved when you talked about this. And maybe if it's a sales presentation or something where you're working with, folks from the outside of your company, they come up with business cards and say, that was fantastic. I want to talk to you about a project I'm working on. You get accolades. You get people who come up to shake your hand, not to be polite, but to do it because you affected them. You inspired them, and they're excited, and they want to know you as a result. So you imagine the best possible outcome, and believe it or not, if you do this often enough, in a not quite a formal way, but if you decide, I'm going to spend 5 minutes a day just imagining how this could go well for each day of the 3 weeks leading up to this presentation, for example, you'd be surprised that after a while, this vision, a successful vision, can actually supplant the negative vision that you've had until then, and that makes you more likely to fulfill that vision and be successful. What do you think, Rich? Could that work?
Yep.
Okay. Next one up. Be your hero. This is the one that I offer for folks who just aren't feeling it with the others, which is okay. If you don't feel like you can be yourself and speak successfully, be someone else. It's okay. I'll give you permission. Choose someone whose speaking ability you admire. It might be someone famous like Martin Luther King. It might be a TV personality like Oprah. It might be someone in your world, someone from your family, a teacher, someone in the clergy, I don't know, a military officer. It could be absolutely anyone. And be them. When you get up to speak, don't worry about being yourself. Spend the first few minutes imitating them. Do what they do. Pretend that you're acting in the theater and you're doing a character. What you'll probably find is that after this sort of helps you get through that early period when you're anxious, because that's when your fight or flight response kicks in. And then chances are that after a few minutes, you recognize you're not in a life-threatening situation, all those symptoms calm down, you feel more in control. You'll find that you probably won't need this anymore. And you can throw it away and be yourself. Now here's the last one. Breathe it out. I like this one. I've been doing this since high school. A calm and peaceful and slow breath is incompatible with anxiety. The more that you find yourself breathing slowly, peacefully, deliberately, the less anxiety your body can experience because you're forcing a peaceful state onto it. So there are any number of ways to do that. There are countless breathing exercises out in the world. You can probably invent one for yourself, but I want to show you one that I've been using since high school called the Waterfall just because I like it, And if you like it, you can use it. If you don't like it, you can modify it into something that you feel works best for you. I'd like everybody to stand up. All right. We'll be done, by the way. I know it's 2:15. We'll be done in the next couple of minutes. All right. I'd like you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that right in front of you, right a few inches in front of your eyes, just hanging in midair, is a ball of water about the size of a volleyball. And it's just suspended there in this sort of vaguely circular shape, right in the air in front of you. I want you to take a long, deep breath when I tell you to. I want you to take that breath through your nose. And as you take that breath, it should take about 10 seconds. I want you to imagine that ball of water rising up until it's balanced over your head. It's just hanging there in midair a few inches above your head. And then I'm going to tell you to exhale. I want you to exhale through your mouth. And as you do, imagine that ball of water breaking, falling and breaking on your shoulders, and really warm and comfortable water just running down your neck and your shoulders and onto your back and just giving you a little momentary massage. Everybody ready to try that? All right. Go ahead and breathe in through your nose and imagine that ball of water in front of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now imagine that ball going over your head and hanging suspended in midair. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now exhale gently through your mouth and imagine that ball spilling all over your shoulders and back and relaxing you. Okay, open your eyes. How many people feel at least a little bit calmer than you did a minute ago?
It works.
Yeah. Now, I would recommend doing that 5, 10, 20 times in a row. It really does work miracles. You wouldn't think so, but it really does. And as I said, if it doesn't work for you perfectly for one reason or another, just change it up. Do something a little different. Modify your breathing. Imagine something else. You can do anything you want. But just try to breathe your way into that comfortable state. It really does work well.